It gives me great pleasure to introduce Mr. Benjamin Todd Jellis, President of the NAACP.
Well, good morning. You know, it is, thank you for that welcome. As somebody whose parents met as teachers at Harlem Park Junior High School in West Baltimore, it's good to be here. It's good to be here. You know, and I'm here, as Ms. Johnson said, I'm here as somebody who cut their teeth doing the work that all of us do to make this country better. Here's somebody who cut their teeth working for Front Lash out of the sub-cellar of the 815 16th Street, organizing students and union members against NAFTA. And I'm here as somebody who was able to go to college because his grandparents were union members. And what this life of being raised by people in this struggle to spend your life fighting for justice in this country has taught me is that if we're going to put this country back to work, we have got to pull this country back together. I got a question for you. How many of y'all were in Washington on January 20th, 2009 for the inauguration of President Obama, January 21st. And how many of you watched it on TV? Y'all are the smart ones. It was cold that day. It was really cold. You could tell who the Hollywood celebrities were because they had somebody to carry their Ugg boots at the party. I realized that day as I was sitting there with my NAACP skull cap pulled down over my head, about 20 rows behind the president on the platform, watching this great change of power in this country, that I had actually been given the forecast 2 years earlier by my grandfather, who, like so many other people who believe deeply in the great cause of working for justice in this country, didn't quite make it to see that great day when the 233-year-old color barrier at the White House was broken. And I said to him in his final year of life, I said, you know, Granddad, I think we got a winner. This guy named Barack Hussein Obama. He said, Barack who? I said, Barack Hussein Obama. He said, hey, he's black, right? And he said, let my 92 years of being a black man in America just help you out on this one, grandson. It'll be a cold day. And he was exactly right. And we all know if you change the way the wind blows and you make it blow really, really hard, you can bring the temperature all the way down. And that's what that day was about. People across this country celebrated because after almost a decade of struggle in this country, we had come together, we had changed the way that the wind blew, and we finally had it blowing in our direction. And that meant that the day after, while families woke up to a new day with the same old questions, we as organizers woke up and said, we got a lot of hard work to do. And we made a tactical decision where each of us ran out in different directions. The Latino groups ran out to pass comprehensive immigration reform. And all of us said, we'll support you, but take the lead. And the teachers ran out to make sure that we had a stimulus bill and to make sure that we were investing money in education. And the civil rights community ran out to take care of a whole long agenda that had been almost crushed by the Bush administration. And the faith community ran out to make sure that the poor and the least among us were taken care of as we dipped into a recession. And we've made a lot of progress that way. But in the past 18 months or so, we've also started to feel a little bit hollow. Started to feel a little bit wary. started to feel a little bit alone and isolated in our primary constituencies that we are active in. And on the horizon, we start to see the massive backlash that always happens in this country when you make major progress. We passed the Lilly Ledbetter bill. They were shocked. We passed a stimulus bill that allowed us to build up school infrastructure across this country. We passed health care reform, even after they said it was DOA. And each time we've made progress, this group on the horizon, this group of overprivileged, overeducated, I'm sorry to say that to teachers, but there's such a thing as overeducated folks in this country. You know, there's a point when you have so much book sense, and I can say this as a Rhodes Scholar, that you have completely lost all common sense. But this group of overprivileged folks are really part of a dying demographic in this country. Call themselves the Tea Party. Has captivated the national imagination. And that majority that we all led together in 2008 seems to have forgotten that it exists, as if we've gone anywhere except for back to the couch. And our job together between now and November is to get them off the couch. To get our members back into the streets, going door to door, making the case for justice in this country, reminding people how it is that we have come to make such great progress in the last 18 months, and of the power that they own in their own hearts if they just have faith that more progress can be made. The way that you make the wind blow your way in Washington is you come back together. And that's why Randy and I, the leadership of the AFT and the leadership of the NAACP, the leadership of the AFL-CIO and the leadership of the Service Employees Union, the leadership of the civil rights community, the entire leadership conference on civil and human rights, all 200 organizations, and a broad faith-based group of allies are all coming together, calling for a massive march on Washington on October 2nd, 2010. You see, in moments like this, you really only got two choices. And you look back at the history of the late 1960s, you look at the history of the 1950s, the 1930s, the 1870s. And what you see is that whether it's the Depression of the 30s, whether it's sort of the end of the ascendant economy of the 50s and 60s, that when you get into tough times financially, and you're still making great progress legislatively, that everybody in this country is called on to go in one of two directions. Either you tear this country apart, you push it downhill towards division and hatred, or you pull this country together and you do the hard work of pushing uphill towards hope and progress. And so as these group of folks who drink tea and apparently are very gainfully employed, according to all the polls, say that they're going to take this country back, I suggest we take them very seriously. Because they will take us right back to the 18th century if we let them. And my white dad would remind my black mama that the 18th century wasn't that good for anybody. Because for even landowning white men like him, their life expectancy was about 40. We have got to reacquaint these tea drinkers with volunteers who drink coffee. And we have to do it with great urgency because we are making progress every day towards getting this country's priorities back in order, but the inertia from the past 8 years is so great, and from the years of Reaganism and upside-down economics for 30 years before that are so great, that if we don't pull ourselves back together, push forward with all our might, and make sure that the economy of this country works for all of us, then all those voters that we registered in 2008, all those people that we asked to take a leap of faith 2 years ago and really vote their best intentions will become discouraged, and we'll lose a generation. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of these periodic bouts of national insanity. I'm tired of them telling us we don't have $23 billion to save teachers' jobs. But we do have $32 billion for war. I'm tired of them telling us we got $32 billion for war, but we don't have money to extend unemployment insurance. And yeah, sure, we know Congress is shutting down for the July 4th recess, but just let them eat hot dogs. And I'm tired of having weeks like the week I had a month ago where we filed a lawsuit against Arizona on Monday for making "show me your papers" the state motto. Then we went down to beat up the Texas State Board of Education, who was having what could only be described as the Scopes monkey trial of social studies. And then, having thought that we had rehashed the first half of the 20th century enough for 1 week, woke up to Rand Paul wanting to debate the 1964 Civil Rights Act like it was a new idea. We're the people who can bring sanity back to this country. We're the people who can ensure this country stays on track towards hope and progress. But we have to come back to Washington on October 2nd together and demand the rest of the change that we voted for. Thank you, and God bless. I'll see you in Washington on October 2nd.